Hello, welcome to the classroom of my bedroom. So today we are going to learn about geometric transformations. And so basically the ones we're going to talk about, there's three. First one is rotation. And I'll go through all of these in depth. But rotation, basically what we're doing is we're taking a shape and rotating it about a certain point. Usually it's the origin, but you can really do it around any point. Then we have reflection. And so with this one, you take a shape and you basically move it in regards to a line instead of a point. And then we have translation. And translation is pretty much just straight movement. It's just, so many units up or down, so many units left or right. With reflection, you do have to worry about orientation, and you'll see this, and then same thing with rotation. But basically, so an example of each of them. So let's start with the rotation here. Let's say I have like a little square right here. These are just little sketches, but basically, so we have a point 1 here, and then the square is only 1 unit up and around. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna rotate it about the origin, which is 0, 0 here. And so let's just rotate it 180 degrees. And so basically, if you think about, since we're rotating about the origin, we have to look at the line between, what you could really pick any point on the square or on the shape, but we're just going to use 1, 1 because that's the one we're given in this example. So all we're going to do is rotate it 180 degrees. And so we know 90 degrees is a right angle, right? 180 degrees is a straight line. So let me finish marking my graph here for the rest of the axes. So what we're going to do is take the same distance and just go across 180 degrees, which is, if you think about it, just like a clock, I guess. It'd just be on the opposite side. So we're going to go and plot the point here. And this point is going to be 1, -1. And then we can use that to draw the square here. And the square is, the length and width are both 1, so we can just draw that. So yeah, with rotations, we're basically just rotating it around. So the one thing to remember with rotations, if the rotation is a multiple of 180, then you don't have to worry about direction. But if it's anything other than a multiple of 180, so let's say we want to rotate, if we were to take the same shape and we rotate it 90 degrees, we have 2 options. So we can rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, and so the square would be, let me just get rid of this one so we're not confused. So I can either go 90 degrees clockwise and plot the point. Let's see. You can plot the point 1, 1 here, and my bad, this one is -1, 1. So if we plot the point 1, 1 here, we have a square that's rotated 90 degrees clockwise, but we can also, we could be asked to rotate the shape 90 degrees counterclockwise, and so that would be just the opposite direction here. So then that would give us the shape starting on the point -1, -1. So if it's 180 degrees, 360, whatever, any multiples of those, then you don't have to worry about direction. If it's anything else, you have to be careful of which way you're rotating it. Okay. Then we will do, next we'll do reflections. And that is very similar to rotations. So if we were to do a rotation or a reflection across, we'll just start with something simple like one of the axes. So let's just say this shape, we want to reflect it across the y-axis, or the line x equals 0. And so that would be this line right here. And so basically what we do is you can start with any point on here. I could choose this -1, 1. I could choose this one, this one, this one. It doesn't matter. We know the points of all of them. But we'll just use this -1, 1. And so we'll see what the distance is from this point to our line of reflection, right? So we're only 1 unit away, and so what we're going to do is put that same distance on the other side of the line. So we're just going to start here and draw our square. And so that's just across the y-axis. You could do it across the x-axis and end up with a square right here. And you can obviously get more complicated the same way that you can with rotations. You can start doing, 90 degrees, 45 degrees, 30 degrees, that kind of thing. With reflection, you can also do it across specific lines. So we don't have to use the axes. We can also pick a specific line, whether it's vertical, horizontal. And so let's say I want to reflect it across the line x equals 1. Right, so same thing, we're going to take the distance. This one is 2 away from the line x equals 1. So we're going to take, our new shape is going to be also two units away from the line on the other side. And then our shape will look something like that. Somewhere out there. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, if something doesn't make sense, please let me know. And then the last one is translation. And this one is basically, I think it's the simplest one out of the two, or out of the three. And it's just moving a specific amount of units in any direction. So let's say we're asked to move this shape 3 units to the right and 1 unit down. So what we're going to do is take with this 1 point and move that in the same amount that we're asked for. So we're going to take this point here, -1, 1, move it 3 over, so 1, 2, 3, and then 1 down. So we're going to plot our point, and we know that's the bottom right point of our square, so we can just draw 1, 1 square here. Like that. And yeah, that one's, I think, the simplest one out of all of them. But something to note, obviously with the square, it's the easiest one because it's very, very symmetrical. If we use something different, let's just say a triangle. Here's where rotation and reflection, you have to be a little bit more careful because it'll change the orientation of the triangle. So here we can see the triangle is the right angle is pointed toward the origin, right? So if we take a rotation, we have to take that into account. So this is still -1, 1. But let's say we rotate this 180 degrees. So like our earlier example, our triangle is going to end up right over here, right? But we can see that it's not drawn in the same orientation as up here. So the point is still the right angle is still pointed towards the origin. And so keep that in mind. And so that's the same way it'll be, you know, if we do the 90-degree rotation, left or right. They will all look somewhat like that. And the same thing with reflection. If you can't tell yet, that will also change orientation. So let's say we reflect it over we can pick this line here with the slope of 1. Our reflection is going to be 1 over 1 down, so we're going to do the same thing over 1 over 1 down on the other side, but our triangle is still going to be pointed toward the origin because that's where it was to begin with. And we can just use the same, you can also use the same example from earlier with the y-axis, for example. We do this. And we do a reflection, it's 1 point away, so we're going to go 1 point over from this line and draw our triangle. And the right angle is still pointed towards the origin. But yeah, that's basically all we're going to look for today. And then we will, we're going to do some practice problems on the worksheet. And yeah, that's what we'll do.